Hi guys, thanks for joining me again. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Anne, and on my channel I review foreign international content. Today I'm back to review Dr. Cha, and we are in episode 3 and 4, and oh my goodness, I am loving this series so much. Ooh, she saw them, right? She saw them. I was like, oh, so there is the bracelet, right? Like, oh my God, oh my goodness. But anyway, let's go back to episode 3. So we were all kind of wondering, like, how did she end up getting into the hospital? Because we know she got rejected because she was old and had that liver transplant. And it turns out that the youngest guy who was supposed to be hired decided to go and join the military or something like that. And she was the only candidate who was available. And nowadays you can't discriminate. Anybody who applies need to be given a fair chance. And that's how she gets in, which was interesting. And the fact that she gets to work under Dr. Choi, who is mistress of the husband, it was just hilarious. The fact that her and her husband were losing their minds, like, oh my God, how can she be working for under me? That really, like, you should have done something. I did not know she'd get in, right? Like, it was just fate, if you will. And then what's crazy is the fact that all 3 of them are family and nobody's saying anything. And so now by default, they've ended up working in the same department, which is just crazy at the same time hilarious. Like, I love the son trying to help the mom. On the other hand, the mom is completely exhausting him, right? How do I do this and how do I do that? And he's just like, Ma. And then that one girl who clearly, obviously likes the son, and she doesn't know it yet because they're hooking up on the side, bossing him around and screaming at her, and the son is driving her crazy, which is just fun to watch. So it'll be interesting to see how that relationship evolve. I believe she's a good girl. I mean, she's a little harsh. On the other hand, when you work in the medical field, I work in the medical field, you know somebody's life is in danger. So when you make a mistake, it's like, look, okay, cannot order, like when she ordered all that medication and it was supposed to be through an IV, that could kill someone. So made sense why she was screaming. That being said, she was a little too harsh and disrespectful. She needs to work on that, but I kind of get it. Anyway, so I thought it was interesting. I think the fun of 3 and 4 was just watching her husband just like losing it. You know, the fact that he's just like jealous when the Dr. Roy, oh my God, Dr. Roy, gave her a ride on the motorcycle. Oh, I was loving it. By the way, I love the fact that when she got on that motorcycle, it was almost like, wow, what have I been doing with my life? It's almost like for once I'm living my life. Like, just a bicycle ride just made her like just question her life, where she was just in tears. Like, I have never experienced such freedom, which is crazy because she said, but I had all the time in the world and I just never did this. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed because I would love to see a romantic entanglement between her and Dr. Roy. Oh, that would be great. And it was sad to see that he was adopted. So obviously it looks like he went to the orphanage and he's kind of trying to find his parents. Makes sense why he came from the United States, and he's got an English name. Getting the fact that he was adopted by Americans and he's kind of come back to Korea to look for his family. That's why when he said, well, I'm not Korean, I'm American, and she's laughing, she's like, you're right. The fact that he was born there, but really he's been raised in America. So is he really Korean? You know, by culture and by race, yes, but really the way he was raised, he's more American. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the 2 of them become an item, and that husband or hers can really go ahead and lose it really completely. And now that she's find out that because of the bracelet, right? It was like, wow, she thought, oh, you bought the bracelet for me? And now she sees it on Dr. Choi. She's like, oh, and you said you didn't even talk to her. And they're smiling. And this was hilarious because she forgot, like, look, you cannot put your hands when you're about to shock somebody. That's why they always say clear, like, don't touch the body or you're also gonna get electrocuted, which she did. and hence why she felt that was funny. I can't wait to see next week when she is now knows the husband is having an affair, and it seems like, I guess she makes a mistake is what we saw from preview of next week. She almost feels like she needs to leave the hospital, but I hope she doesn't. She needs to stay. Stick it out. Just because it gets hard, don't leave. And by the way, I love the interactions between the two mother-in-laws, you know, her mom and her husband's mom, and where she was like, look, you know, her mom, who I love so much, was like, look, you know, the fact that you and your son are so selfish, and now you're whining because, oh, she's never home to take care of me and the daughter, which was interesting. The daughter is so spoiled. She's like, oh, no, I have to start taking the taxi because my mom wouldn't drop me off. And her friend, who happens to be Dr. Choi's daughter, was like, well, I've always been taking the taxi because my mom has always been busy. But I get the feeling that the daughter of Dr. Choi knows that the mother and her husband are having an affair. Because when she looked at the pictures, I bet you she was like, I have seen this dude. And I bet you she put two and two together like, wow. She even like mentioned like, oh, when doctors say they go to golfing lounges, it's known to be places where they tend to have affairs. I was like, oh, was she about to tell her? Like, wow, you know, like, keep your eyes open, okay? Keep your eyes open with your husband, right? So that'll be interesting because the girl did look a little bit like disturbed, almost like she knows what the mother is up to. But I loved that her mother told the mother-in-law, who's so spoiled, like, back off, leave her alone. She's finally living her life. She does not need to be at home taking care of you and your spoiled granddaughter, which, by the way, she hires a maid for them. And even the maid was like, look, I cannot deal with you. You are way too nitpicky and this is not working for me. Oh, I loved it. It was so funny. But I'm loving this so much. Are you? Let me know what you think in the comment section. As usual, I'm grateful. If you like my video, give me a like, subscribe. It does help to support my channel. And I'll see you next week when I review episode 5 and 6. Thank you. Deuces.